yard with an in-ground sprinkler system can account for up to 50% of your total water use. I can tell you as a homeowner that adds up to a lot of money. So how would you like to take control of your water costs and still take pride in a great-looking yard? I thought so. By properly creating and maintaining a water-efficient sprinkler system, you can reduce your water usage and maintain an attractive landscape. Since normal wear and tear on your sprinkler system can lead to malfunctions and water waste, the key to efficient water use is regular, ongoing maintenance. If you can tackle the basics, it's pretty simple. First, let's look at the typical layout of a sprinkler system. A water meter connects to either potable or reclaimed water. There's the point of connection to the water source. The backflow preventer protects your drinking water. Underground PVC piping carries the water throughout your system. And sprinkler heads, either sprayers or rotors, that deliver the water to your landscape. Usually the water valves are operated by an automatic controller which also sends the water to sprinkler zones. Last but not least, a rain sensor. Now let's take a look at some of the supplies and tools you might need to keep your sprinkler system in good working order. A shovel or hand trowel, a PVC pipe cutter or handsaw, PVC primer, and PVC cement, a mini screwdriver or sprinkler adjustment tool, and adjustable pliers, flags to mark the location of your sprinklers, poly cut-off risers, half-inch flexible tubing, and sections of PVC pipes. By the way, PVC pipe used for irrigation systems comes in many different sizes. This is a section of half-inch pipe, for example. If you have to make any repairs, make sure it matches your existing pipes. The good news is most everything you will need to keep your sprinkler system operating in good order is available at your local home improvement store. Their knowledgeable staff can be a big help also. Just like your car needs regular maintenance to keep it running smoothly, your sprinkler system requires attention too. Over time, you should expect to make adjustments to your system due to worn-out parts, plant growth, and of course changes in your landscape. So where do you begin? Step one is to perform a routine visual inspection of your sprinkler system. Be on the lookout for broken and missing parts, leaks, and obstructions. There's no better way to spot waste or conserve water. Sprinkler heads in particular should be checked at least once a month. If something is not working properly, or if you see a problem, fix it. If water is squirting out around the sprinkler head, check the sprinkler, the piping, and the fittings under the sprinkler for leaks. Check the rubber or plastic seal inside the top of the sprinkler for debris and wear. If it's damaged or worn, replace with the recommended seal. Broken and missing sprinkler heads may need to be replaced. To make sure it works as intended, the replacement head should match the other heads on the zone under repair. A zone, by the way, is a group of sprinklers that operate at the same time and are controlled by a single valve. With a hand trowel, dig out the soil around the head. Be careful not to let any dirt or debris fall into the pipe. Now, unscrew the broken sprinkler head. If you need to raise the sprinkler head to the level of your lawn, use a riser between the pipe and the bottom of the sprinkler. Measure the length needed on the poly riser and then trim it with a PVC pipe cutter along one of the easily marked cutoff spots. Screw the replacement head onto the riser. To test the repair and make any adjustments, turn the zone on and off. If there are no leaks and it operates properly, level and tamp in the soil. You're all set. If the sprinkler is watering the driveway or the sidewalk, you're wasting a lot of water. To correct this problem, you need to adjust the spray pattern. With the water on, carefully rotate the spray nozzle or rotor head left or right to direct the water away from any hard surfaces. You may need an adjustable wrench or mini screwdriver to make this adjustment. It might take a few tries,
but setting a new spray pattern is easy. On a rotary impact sprinkler, the radius pattern can be changed by adjusting the trip clips located just under the sprinkler head. The arc of a spray head sprinkler can be changed by using different adjustable nozzles. For example, instead of a full 360-degree spray pattern, this nozzle makes a 180-degree pattern. Just make sure to match the new nozzle to the existing sprinkler. Much better. All that wasted water is now being redirected to your yard, and your landscape will love you for it.
If the nozzle on your sprinkler head doesn't work properly, the spray nozzle and filter may need cleaning.
With the system off, unscrew the nozzle from the sprinkler head. Many nozzles can be taken apart by hand, but others may require a screwdriver or special tool. Hold the nozzle under a faucet to blast off any debris. For stubborn residue, you may need to use a brush or let it soak for a while. Rinse out the filter basket or screen. By the way, the screen is located in different places depending on the type of sprinkler you have. If the filter screen is old and brittle, you may need to replace it. With the obstructions dislodged, reassemble the head, filter, and nozzle. Now, turn on the water and adjust the nozzle and head as needed to properly cover the landscape. Incidentally, efficient coverage or head-to-head coverage throws water over 80% or more of the distance to the adjacent sprinkler heads.
Try to flush the filters at least once a year. If the nozzle or filter is not clogged with debris, check the water pressure and adjust it, if it's possible.
If the water pressure is low, it may be the result of a leak in the system. Look for any wet spots, erosions, or squirting water and make the necessary repairs if you find a problem. Don't forget to check the valves for leaks. The valves are typically located where the wires come from the controller at ground level.
If the task is beyond your abilities, you may want to call a professional irrigation contractor.
If the pressure is too high, the sprinkler heads will emit a fine mist instead of a steady stream. A water waster for sure.
If the entire sprinkler system shows excessive pressure and there's some way to reduce the pressure, adjust it to the pressure range recommended by the sprinkler manufacturer.
If just one zone has too much pressure, you may be able to adjust the zone's valve with the pressure regulation device, if it has one. If that's not possible, try turning down the flow control stem until the misting disappears. Installing pressure-regulating sprinkler heads is another possible solution.
If the nozzles and filters are not clogged and you've determined the water pressure is okay, and the sprinklers are still not operating properly, you may need to flush out the sprinkler lines.
Turn off the system and carefully remove all the spray head nozzles. Be very careful not to let any dirt fall into the sprinkler pipe. Turn the water on and let it run until a solid, clean stream flows from each opening. Turn the water off and replace the nozzles. Make sure the system is operating properly and readjust it if necessary.
Hopefully, one of these solutions is the key to getting your sprinkler system back to operating at maximum efficiency. If not, call in a pro. You'll make up the cost with the water you save.
Water may not be getting to your landscape because a sprinkler is blocked by a plant or some other object.
Not a problem. The answer may be as simple as getting out your pruning shears. That should do it. To eliminate obstructions caused by an overgrown landscape, keep problem plants and bushes pruned and check their growth regularly.
To keep turf grass away from a sprinkler, remove the grass from around the head and install a concrete donut to keep it clear. Another solution to an obstructed sprinkler is determining if a sprinkler is even needed in that location. A landscape changes over time, so if a sprinkler is not necessary, remove it and seal the connection with a cap.
Trimming back a plant isn't always practical, but there's always a solution. Consider elevating the sprinkler.
To raise a sprinkler above an obstruction, add an extension or poly riser to the PVC pipe. Start by unscrewing the sprinkler from the top of the PVC pipe. Measure a length of pipe extension or cut a riser that will raise the sprinkler above the plant or obstruction. If you use a riser, use Teflon tape on the threads to ensure a good seal. Prime and cement the PVC extension or screw the cutoff riser onto the pipe, then reinstall the sprinkler. If the PVC pipe is too narrow or too tall, the sprinkler and pipe will wobble and move around. When the pipe is under pressure, the movement is even worse. So you'll want to install a sturdy support, snugly attaching it to the extension to prevent any problems. By raising the height of a sprinkler, the water meant for your landscape will go up and over any obstruction. You'll notice the difference in no time.
As you can see, part of this landscape bed isn't receiving any water at all because of a blocked sprinkler head. One solution would be to install a swing joint or flexible poly tubing to physically move the sprinkler head and eliminate the obstruction.
A swing joint is made from 2 elbows and flexible poly tubing or PVC pipe cut to length with 2 slip-by-thread couplings on each end. A better long-term solution for dealing with obstructions is to replace sprinklers in a plant bed with low-flow micro-irrigation tubing. The beauty of micro-irrigation is the potential to save water and its portability. When plants start growing, you can move the tubing.
If your plants and lawn don't appear healthy, you could have insect damage. Maybe your landscape needs to be fertilized. Or the problem could be with your sprinkler system. The landscape could be suffering from too little water being applied by your sprinklers, even too much water. The very best way to find out about the true efficiency of your system is with the catch can test.
You'll need a bunch of straight edge containers all the same size, like these rain gauges. Or you can use tuna cans, plus a ruler and a timer of some kind. You'll also need a record sheet to write down your findings. Let's get started. Place the cans randomly underneath the spray pattern of a sprinkler zone. Be sure to put some cans in any wet or dry areas to identify problems with spray distribution. You'll repeat the same test for each zone. Okay, turn on the sprinklers in the zone and let them run for 10 minutes. Now, turn off the sprinklers and measure the depth of the water collected in each can. With the ruler, record in inches the amount of water for each container. By the way, the more cans you set out, the more accurate the test is going to be. What you're striving for is a sprinkler system that applies water uniformly in each zone. So you'll need to compare the water level in each can to determine if the amount collected is the same. If it's not the same, you'll need to make changes to the sprinklers or even the underground PVC piping to assure your landscape is watered evenly.
Your findings will let you ask some revealing questions. Are there areas in a zone receiving less water than others? Are there areas receiving more water? Do any sprinklers need to be added or changed so the water is applied evenly? Are the sprinklers throwing water over 80% or more of the distance to adjacent sprinkler heads? The answers will tell you a lot about your sprinkler system, but there's even more to learn.
To finish up the catch can test, take the total inches of all containers and divide by the number of containers. This will give you a zone's average water depth in inches. Multiply the zone's average water depth by 6 to obtain a zone's hourly water rate.
From this last bit of calculation, you can now determine if you're overwatering or underwatering within a particular zone. By the way, most plants and lawns only require 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of water to keep from showing stress.
Once you've figured out a zone's hourly application rate, you can adjust your sprinkler system's timer to deliver the right amount of water in each zone.
For example, if you wanted to determine how long it would take to apply 3/4 of an inch of water,
a zone applying an average of 5/10 of an inch an hour would have to run for 90 minutes to deliver 3/4 of an inch of water. By comparison, a zone operating at 2 inches an hour would only have to run for 23 minutes to deliver the same 3/4 of an inch. The application of 1 inch an hour would require 45 minutes of run time.
repeat the catch can test for each zone and you'll end up with a true picture of your sprinkler system. And more importantly, you'll know the adjustments you may need to make so the system will operate more efficiently. A sprinkler system includes many components: underground piping, sprinkler heads, valves, a rain sensor, a backflow preventer. But the real brain of the operation is the controller. Once set, the system practically runs itself.
The controller is a clock that automatically turns valves on and off through electronic signals. It gives you the ability to divide watering up into zones. Depending on the schedule you devise, you can program when each zone will come on and how long the sprinklers in a particular zone will stay on. The controller is an essential tool for applying the right amount of water at the right time. It allows you to sustain your landscape in the most efficient way possible.
If you're in the market for a controller, here's a few things to consider. Look for a timer that can accommodate multiple independent zones, enough to run all the stations in your yard with flexibility for expansion. A controller should include a backup battery or non-volatile internal memory in case of a power failure, as well as an off, automatic, and manual mode of operation. Make sure it can also accommodate a rain sensor. More on rain sensors later. Programming the controller should be easy. The buttons and dials sturdy, well organized, and simple to use. A large, easy-to-read display screen is a big plus too. Whether your controller is installed by an irrigation contractor or by you, the homeowner, hang on to the instruction manual and keep it handy. Operating manuals may also be available online from the manufacturer. One additional feature that's a big plus is a controller that allows for seasonal adjustments to your watering schedule. Here's why.
In West Central Florida, where the average rainfall is over 50 inches a year, typically about 2/3 of our annual rainfall occurs between June and October. For your landscape, that means during the rainy season, supplemental watering with your sprinkler system may only be needed every 7 days or so, and maybe not at all. In the cooler winter months, usually November through March, plant growth slows down considerably, so the water requirement for your landscape is much less demanding. Running the sprinkler system every 10 to 14 days should be more than enough.
A controller with a 365-day calendar enables you to make those seasonal adjustments automatically. Just make sure you always keep up to date and follow the current water use restrictions. If the sprinkler system controller stops running, there are a couple of things to troubleshoot.
Make sure it's plugged into a working electrical outlet and make sure it's switched to on or automatic. Check the backup battery for corrosion or a low charge. Check the fuse in the controller. If you do lose power for some reason and the battery is dead, all your controller settings will be lost. If that happens, install a replacement battery and then refer to a copy of your controller's schedule when you reprogram all your settings.
There's another possible cause for a controller that seems to be on the blink. If it's rained recently, the rain sensor could still be damp and is temporarily preventing the controller from operating the valves.
But no worries, when the rain sensor dries out, your sprinkler system will be back in business.
So what is this device called a rain sensor? Found typically on a roof line or on the top of a fence post, this little contraption is wired to the controller. When it's raining, it tells your sprinkler system not to turn on.
Florida law requires irrigation systems to have some type of automatic rain shutoff device. There's nothing worse than seeing a sprinkler system wasting water during a downpour. Enter the rain sensor.
There are many different kinds of rain sensors. Here's one that's commonly used. To check the operation of your rain sensor, turn on the time clock for a zone near the sensor. When you press and hold down the button on top of the sensor for several seconds, the zone should shut off. Release the button and the zone should come back on. If it does, the sensor is working perfectly.
If the zone doesn't turn off when you press the button, there's likely a problem with the sensor. What if it's raining and your sprinkler system still comes on? That too can be an indication something's wrong. Check to see if the rain sensor is obstructed in some way. It may need to be moved away from under the eaves, or away from plants, or from a particular building or fence. Another solution is to adjust the rainfall setting or vent ring. It's very simple to do. To make a change, just twist. Another possibility is the rain sensor is broken or needs to be replaced. Ideally, the rain sensor is in perfect working order, but not enough rain has fallen to activate the cork disc sensor. A rain sensor is a very important part of an efficient sprinkler system. To make sure the rain switch continues to operate properly, give it a check at least once a year.
The aim of an efficient sprinkler system is to provide the right amount of water to a landscape at a prescribed time. When that goal is achieved, you'll not only realize substantial water savings, but you'll have a healthier landscape.
From a visual inspection to replacing broken or worn parts to making the necessary adjustments, we've covered some of the basic steps that will keep your sprinklers operating efficiently. Since the purpose of a sprinkler system is to distribute the right amount of water in the right place, another sure way to maintain a tip-top system is to periodically inspect your plants. Be on the lookout for signs of overwatering and underwatering. Overwatering produces periods of standing water that can be as harmful to your yard and plants as too little water. Too much water can make leaves turn yellow, brown, or drop prematurely. Leaves can droop and individual branches may die back.
Overwatering, especially with turf grass, can lead to roots that are wet, mushy, and extra dark. Overwatering can bring on the potential for root rot, fungus, and disease. In short, too much water can harm or even kill your landscape.
Underwatering starves a thirsty landscape. It places dry plants under stresses that cause damage to roots, leaves, and stems. The signs: leaves that turn pale or light green, leaves that droop or wilt, leaves that turn brown starting first around the edges. Stems will have a wrinkled look, eventually turning yellow or brown. The soil around the roots will feel dry and dusty.
The ultimate in smart water use is to combine an efficient sprinkler system with a Florida-friendly landscape. Planting your yard around plants and turf grass meant to grow in the demanding Florida climate, including putting the right plant in the right place, will create a colorful yard that uses less water, less fertilizer, and fewer pesticides.
For more information on Florida-friendly yards, contact the Hillsborough County Extension Service or the Southwest Florida Water Management District.
What's your incentive for having a landscape watered by an efficient sprinkler system? Aside from a good-looking yard, it's the green of another kind. As I mentioned at the beginning of this program, watering lawns and plants can account for up to 50% of a homeowner's total water use. Depending on how much other water you use around your home, irrigating a typical 5,000 square foot yard with an in-ground sprinkler system could cost from $12 to $70 per application. Yikes! It adds up fast. So, by properly installing and maintaining a water-efficient sprinkler system, you can actually reduce your water usage, save some cash, and still be proud of an attractive landscape. Happy watering!